I've got a $10 bill. We're gonna use this to buy a day's worth of food to feed my family breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm gonna try to find the healthiest, most filling and nutritious foods that I can, and then we're gonna go home and I'm gonna show you how I would feed my family if all I had was $10 of grocery money. I really hope that this video is helpful for you. I know we all as moms want to give our families healthy and nourishing meals, and sometimes it is a struggle to be able to put food on the table. So if you have been struggling, or if you're just interested in learning how to save as much money as possible and still feed your family good, healthy food, this is the perfect video for you. So let's go into Aldi with our $10 bill and our calculator, and I'm going to show you how to feed your family all day long for just $10. While we go in, let's talk a little bit about the purpose of this video. So of course, this video is not going to help you find all of the food that your family is going to need for the entire week. It's not going to make sure that all of the boxes are checked when you're talking about nutrition and the needs of a growing family. But what it is going to do is let you be able to get through those difficult days when really all you have is a $10 bill and a hungry family. I know that some of us are in that position on a regular basis. If you are struggling with hunger or with food insecurity, I'm going to leave some links down below to help you find some food banks in your area. That way you're not always struggling to make ends meet. There are lots of people who are willing to help others who are in those kinds of situations. So if you are in a difficult spot and you do need help, you can find those resources down in the description box. Today is really just an exercise in, is it possible and how can we best feed our family for just a little bit of money that we can scrape together if we're in a difficult spot. So I hope that's not you, but even if it is, I want to show you that you can still feed your family good, healthy food, even if you only have a couple of dollars a day. Let's go inside and just sort of take a good look around and see what's available. I'm not going in with any preconceived ideas or meal plans in mind, because with this limited amount of money, you're gonna have to be open to all of the options that are available, and we're gonna have to just sort of pinch every penny, look at every single option and see what is best for our family today. Let's go in and see if we can find any clearance items or low priced options that are really going to be good bases for the entire day's meals. Okay, in all honesty, I don't know exactly how best to make these decisions, and I don't know best how to make this video so that it is easy to watch and easy to understand. I'm just gonna start with where I would start if I was doing this exercise on a regular basis for my family, and I'm gonna start with dinner. It's important to make sure that everybody's got plenty of protein throughout the day, but also a good dinner that's going to allow them to be full throughout the evening into nighttime so that it'll carry them through to the next day. So I found three options. The first option is $3.39. It is a pound of ground chicken. There's a lot we can do with that, and it also is healthy, very minimally processed. I think it's a really good option. So for less than $3.50, we can have our protein for the dinner. I think that's going to get us really far into our meal plan. But there's two other options I wanted to show you. The second option would be this kielbasa sausage. We eat this on the regular at my house. I do not consider it a health food by any means, but it's not terrible ingredients, and it is a pretty good option when you're looking for an inexpensive protein. So could we use that tonight for dinner? Yes, absolutely. It would be a really good option, and it's really easy to pair with some vegetables that will help it to be healthier and also last longer throughout the night. So that's another really good option I'm going to keep in the buggy to consider. The third option is just some breakfast sausage. This is also a little bit more processed than the chicken, but it also is something that we eat on a regular basis, and I feel like we have a pretty healthy diet at my house. It is not like a hot dog. It's a little bit higher quality than that. It's $2.89 here today, so it is cheaper than the ground turkey. There's a lot of things that we can do with it, and I was thinking that we could make like some sausage balls for it in the evening. That would be a really fun, kid-friendly dinner that would also be high in calories, high in fat, high in protein, to get everybody through to the next day. So I'm not sure which one of these I'm going to choose yet. I'm still in the thinking phase, but I just wanted to show you how I'm going to work through this exercise to find the best food possible at this really low budget. I don't know exactly what I'm looking for still, but I do know that rice is going to be a really good option for us to add to our grocery cart so that we can have the most filling food available at the cheapest cost. So I found this box of instant rice. I never would consider buying this if I'm doing a weekly meal plan, but when we're talking about this is all the money that we have and we're trying to feed our family as much food as possible during the day for $10, let's think about this as an option. And then we'll also put this large bag of white rice in the buggy, because I really have a feeling that we can do a lot with this bag of rice for $2.60. It will go a long way. It's not saving a ton of money by just buying the box of rice, but it is saving about 70 cents. I'm not sure by the end of our grocery trip how much that 70 cents is going to be needed, so I'm going to put both in the buggy and consider them both, but I'm definitely leaning toward the large bag. Okay, I am sort of beginning to formulate a plan now that I've got my feet underneath me. I've seen several options, so I think what I'm going to do is pick up a container of pasta sauce. This is $1.65. I can pair it well with some rice, and I will buy this sausage. That will be a really good dinner. So it'll sort of be like spaghetti but with rice instead of pasta. And I'm getting the rice instead of pasta because I know that I can use the rice as a filling breakfast. I know this rice is going to really be a good staple for us. So we're up to a little over $7. I'm going to go over to the produce section and try to find some fresh produce that will help us to sort of complement our lunch and maybe our breakfast, and then we will be ready to go. Okay, this exercise has become harder than I realized. So I have $1.02 left. I don't have any vegetables in my buggy. All I have is a half gallon of milk. I guess this is considered vegetable, so maybe it's not completely vegetable free. Some pasta sauce. I've got a lot of rice, and I have a pound of breakfast sausage. So I'm gonna go to the freezer section and then to the canned foods and see if I can find something for $1 that would sort of round everything out and allow us to have something a little more than just rice for breakfast and lunch. Maybe I might need to go back to the drawing board. As I was leaving, I found this sauerkraut, and this would go really well with the kielbasa sausage that was actually 10 cents cheaper than the breakfast sausage, and it's about 50 cents cheaper than this pasta sauce. So maybe I need to change gears for dinner and plan on having sauerkraut and sausage. Okay, now that I have my plan for my dinner and my breakfast worked out, I have $1.62 left for me to figure something out for lunch. I have come across these green lentils. They are $1.39. You get 16 ounces, a whole pound of the green lentils. I don't really know what to do with green lentils, but I sort of feel like it would be a really good option and very filling. It seems like they would pair well with rice, which is obviously going to be the staple. So I'm thinking that these lentils will give us just enough money for maybe a couple of bananas or something that we can share as a snack. And I think that is going to use up our entire $10 budget. Maybe I'm making another adjustment. I went down the Aldi Aisle of Shame and found this Yellowstone beef chili for $1.53. So that is about the same price as this banana, which I'm honestly only getting to add some fruit with the 25 cents extra that I had, and this sauerkraut. So these together are about the same price as this chili. I feel like this would be a really good addition with the rice for our lunch, and we can also still have these lentils. I feel like this is going to add a lot more substance and staying power to our meal plan than this container of sauerkraut. So I think for the money, this is the best way to go. I can definitely find something good to do with it, with the lentils and the rice, and it's also going to add a good amount of protein to our plan. Okay, I'm finally done. I've got the few ingredients for our meals tomorrow. I did go over by 11 cents, but my thinking here is if we find a buggy outside, which I did find a buggy on my way in, that adds 25 cents to my budget, so I really haven't technically gone over. Okay, that might be total girl math, but anyway, you know what I'm saying. I'm close enough to $10 to make this work, and I really think that we can do a lot with this food that I'm gonna buy for $10. I think that I can keep my family nice and satisfied all day long tomorrow for $10.11. Okay, before we even start talking about the meals that I made for my family for this budget meal plan, I need to tell you a couple of things. So, have you ever just had an excruciating headache? The ones that cause you not to be able to think clearly? Okay, that's where I was when I was in the store trying to come up with this $10 meal plan. So I know that I sounded really flighty. I know that I sounded really confused and like I was overthinking everything, but it was really because my head was pounding and all I was trying to do was put together a coherent sentence or two for that video. So I was feeling much better the next day. I was able to rethink some of the things that I had decided when I was at the grocery store, and I really had buyer's remorse. So after I really thought about the choices that I had made, I was really disappointed with myself for choosing the chili instead of the kraut, or better yet, I really think I should have gotten a head of cabbage. I think I could have found one within the budget that would have been a whole food that would have allowed me to incorporate more vitamins and nutrients into the diet that day, and I would have felt a lot better about the end result. I didn't do that, and it's okay that I didn't do that. You're not always going to make the best choice. And there's always going to be something that we can second guess ourselves about. And there's always going to be a reason why we can make ourselves feel bad, even though, in all honesty, we did the best we could. So that's the kind of grace that I'm going to give myself throughout this video. That's the kind of grace I want you to give yourself. If you have a very limited budget and you are feeding your family good whole foods as much as possible, you are doing a great job. And don't allow the second guessing to override the good feeling that you should have in being proud of yourself for not quitting, not giving up, not going through the drive-thru, but continuously trying to give your family the food that they need while still staying within a really restrictive budget. Maybe these wouldn't be the choices that you would make if you were at the store. Okay, granted, that's fine. There's a million different choices that could have been made. And honestly, they probably aren't the choices that I would make if I went back to the store today and redid this experiment. That just means there's a lot of opportunity for growth, a lot of different options available for us, and there's really no right or wrong answer. The second thing that I want to talk about before we get started with our recipes for today's video is if you are in this place where you have a really, really tight budget. I'm talking like feeding your family for $300 or less in the month. That's sort of what we did today. It would factor out to be about $300 a month. but it was very difficult to do it day at a time. So if you're in that scenario where you have $300 or $400 a month to spend on groceries and you've got a lot of mouths to feed, my recommendation after doing this video of $10 a day would be go ahead and make a really extensive list of the items that you know you're going to need over and over again. Go ahead and buy those at the beginning of the month. Things like sugar and flour, spices, oil, canned goods, all of the things that you know will last the entire month and that you might can find at a discount if you buy more at a time. Go ahead and buy those items at the beginning. Give yourself a good firm foundation for the meals throughout the month, and then you will have a couple of $100s to spend on perishable items like fresh produce, dairy, and meat items. I really feel like if you could buy a large portion of meat, say a ham or a frozen turkey, or maybe several pork loins that you might find on sale, or a big pack of chicken that's maybe a family pack and discounted because of the size. If you can buy those items in bulk and separate them out for use throughout the month, I think it would be a much better use of money, and I think you can really pack a lot more nutrition into that meal plan if you're able to sort of do it with a pile of money instead of a little bit at the time every single day. It was very hard to find food that would feed my entire family for the entire day for $10. It's a lot easier if you go in with a week-long meal plan, and even better if you go in with a month-long meal plan, and that will give you more buying power to be able to better use every single penny. This experiment has really opened my eyes to the possibility of a month-long meal plan, and I really want to do that for this channel. Set it up to cost around $300 or $350, and then see what kind of meals we can create for 30 days for that amount of money. That's going to be my next goal. I will probably break that month-long meal plan up into 4 separate week videos, so that way we can sort of get a feel for how things are going. Feel free to share all of your ideas, all of your comments for that month-long budget plan down below in this video, and I'm going to gather them all up and work through them while I'm creating the month-long meal plan. Now that I've said all of that, all of the precursor information I wanted you to know, now let's talk through the specifics of the recipes. I don't have a lot of time because honestly these recipes came together really quick, so I didn't spend a lot of time in the kitchen. I didn't spend a lot of time making the meals before we start. I hope that you will give the video a quick thumbs up. That really helps the channel, and it will really help the video to get spread out to more and more families who may be struggling to feed their family healthy meals for less. With all that being said, let's talk about some of the specifics that I learned while I was feeding my family for $10 a day. The first order of business today is to cook all of this rice. Now, this was a bunch of rice. It ended up literally being way too much, but I never really have done this kind of plan before, and I didn't know how much rice my family was going to need. So I wanted to make sure I had plenty. And let me assure you, if you cook an entire 32-ounce bag of rice, your family, no matter the size, will have plenty to eat throughout the day. So cooking it up in the morning allowed me to use the rice for our first meal, which was rice pudding. My mom used to make rice pudding all the time when I was growing up. It was usually a dessert for us, but today I'm going to make it a breakfast meal for my family. I'm going to use 2 cups of the cooked rice, 2 cups of our milk, but I'm going to water the milk down. So I'm going to use 1 cup of milk and 1 cup of water. I'm going to add a little bit of salt, and I'm going to sweeten it with a couple of tablespoons of sugar. Totally optional. You can leave that out if you prefer. I also sprinkled it with a little bit of cinnamon, and this was breakfast. Actually, it was a really good breakfast. So even if you're not on a budget meal plan, go ahead and give that one a try. Okay, next up is lunch, and I bought this chili. I had a little bit of remorse about the chili whenever I got home and got over my headache and started thinking more seriously about this meal plan. But honestly, it worked out perfectly fine. The chili really did add a good amount of flavor to the rice. It gave us a good amount of protein. I watered it down so that I would have plenty to flavor enough rice for everyone, and this really worked out fine. For this meal plan, the chili over the rice really turned out good. Also, as a side note, there were plenty of lentils left over at the end of the day, so if you would like to add them for lunch as well as for dinner, there's absolutely plenty to go around. For dinner, I just browned up the kielbasa sausage in a skillet. I didn't add any oil or butter. I didn't want to add any more than I had to from my pantry. It browned up really nice without anything in the skillet, and after the sausage was nice and browned, I took the sausage out and heated the rice in the skillet. I wanted to try to get all of the flavor that had been left in the skillet into the meal so that it would taste as flavorful as possible. And then I decided at the last minute to add the lentils to the skillet as well and make it sort of like a casserole or a skillet meal. I really wish I hadn't have done that. I really wish that I had just left the lentils out and had them on the side. It didn't taste bad, but it may have been a little bit better, at least visually, for the lentils to be left separately from the rice. Either way, this meal was really good. It did lack a little bit of flavor, but nothing that salt can't overcome. So I really feel like this was a filling, good, fairly healthy and nutritious meal plan for my family for $10. Of course, like I said before, I think that we're able to do a $300 or $350 meal plan for the entire month. I think that we could really step this up and not have to eat literal rice and beans all the time. So I'm really looking forward to being able to create that longer term meal plan. I'm going to get to work on that very, very soon. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I hope that you will click the subscribe button. Also, if you go over beside the subscribe, hit the bell icon and choose all notifications. It will be sure and let you know of every single video that I upload so that you do not miss that video series whenever it comes out very soon. As always, thank you so much for watching the video today. I hope you have a wonderful week. I love you, and I will see you again next time.